Welcome back. Born in Morocco from 1959 to 1960, French photographer Bruno Barbey studied photography and graphic arts at the École des Arts et Métiers in Vevey, Switzerland. Between 1961 and 1964, he photographed the Italian people with the aim, he says, of capturing the spirit of a nation. During the 1960s, he was also commissioned to photograph European and African countries by the Lausanne-based subscription publisher Éditions Rencontre.
That was the beginning of more than 4 decades traveling the world as a photographer and an eventual membership of the Magnum Photo Agency. In 1968, Barbey and fellow Magnum photographers Marc Ribot and Henri Cartier-Bresson photographed the Paris student movement, an event to which he felt particularly close.
In an equally turbulent time, while the Cultural Revolution was still underway, he visited the People's Republic of China for the first time. The exhibition, China Since 1973, showcases the images he captured both then and later.
My first trip was during the Cultural Revolution. I spent nearly 1 month at that time, and I was very lucky because I could join the first chief of state from France who came, Pompidou, to visit China for 1 week. And at that time, I saw nearly every day Chiang Lai. He was the prime minister. And for protocol, you know, he was there always with the French president. And at that time, the official trip was only for 1 week, but I had an extension of visa, and I could stay 2 more weeks.
Born in Morocco in 1941, Bruno Barbey rejects being called a war photographer. But over a 40-year association with Magnum Photos, he has photographed many violent conflicts, including the Vietnam War, the Nigerian Civil War, and the Northern Ireland Troubles. Barbey began working with Magnum in 1964 and became a full member in 1968. That same year, he documented the students' and workers' riots in Paris. From 1992 to 1995, he was the president of Magnum International. Running at the F11 Photographic Museum until July the 15th, China Since 1973 features a selection of Barbey's photographs filmed in China since he followed French President Georges Pompidou's official visit during the Cultural Revolution. However, he wasn't allowed to stay long. It wasn't until 1980 that he was able to return to China for a month to record China's reforms under Deng Xiaoping's ideology of "to get rich is glorious." He found the changes in that short time incredible to witness.
It was very hard, in fact, at that time to know exactly what was going on because there was censorship. But still, I can see in the daily life some details which shows how the Cultural Revolution was very tough, very hard. You know, for example, people were not permitted to dance. Before, China was still very poor, but still you see, of course, children, they like to play in the streets. So, for example, ping pong is the most popular sport in China. And I catch some young boys playing ping pong, but in a very simple way, you know, in the street. Or I visit in Shanghai the Academy of Music, and then the students start to learn again traditional music, which was not permitted during the Cultural Revolution. So these are small details which shows the changes, you know, of the new China. It's very easy to photograph in China, but at that time there was few foreigners traveling, very few foreigners. So one problem I had is not that the people did not like to be photographed. There was not such problem, but everybody was looking, who is this foreigner, you know, and his equipment and his camera. So most of the time, people are looking at the photographer, and you know, to see in a few decades how China changed. You cannot believe. And photography is very useful because you keep track of things, and you look at photographs which I took 50 years ago and see how things, the way people were dressed and all the changes. It's quite spectacular.